Hey Sliders, Michael D here. I realized that this episode of the Dadmen bonus check never actually came out, and it is pretty much an Akira slide episode. We talk about our favorite anime and animation from 2023. It was originally recorded on January 6th, 2024, and I am just a huge fan of it. It's actually the reason why we started the Akira Slide podcast, because we wanted a whole show about anime, manga, and all sorts of other great stuff. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with new episodes.
You're listening to a Destiny Park Media podcast.
Welcome to the Dadmen bonus check. This is an extra dose of your favorite fatherhood duo and Mad Men duo, Michael D. Rowland. And I've got joining me as my co-host,
Mike Jallah in the building.
Surprise, surprise. Throwing a twist.
Man. Oh yeah.
Throwing a twist in this first episode we're recording of the Dadmen bonus check.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if this is going to be the first one that comes out. But
right. We will play it by ear.
Yeah, we'll play it by year because it's a new year.
2024.
And play it by beer. I'm just kidding around with you. But no, we just decided we are going to launch this bonus podcast because one of the big complaints that I've had about Dad Men is that sometimes it focuses on stuff that's not Mad Men related.
Sure.
And it seems like we're bursting at the seams to tell people, hey, this is what we're like. This is the stuff that we like. We like manga. We love Godzilla's.
Movies and such.
Movies. Marvel.
Netflix.
The cinematic universe.
Yes, indeed.
Famous from Horton Hearza. No, I'm sorry. But it just seemed like we were always trying to talk about stuff besides Mad Men. But this is going to give us an outlet too. If people want to get to know us, and
right.
We're going to be talking about all sorts of stuff on here. We're also going to dive into like character profiles for Mad Men characters, as well as talk about different roles that the actors played in other aspects of their career, or other parts of their career, I should say. But yeah, so welcome to episode 1. This is being recorded on January 6th.
Yep, we're in the new year.
Yeah, and I am very grateful we're doing it today because there is no way this is going to be the worst thing that's happened on January 6th in history. You always want to make sure that you're doing something on a day where there's like a lot of other bad stuff that happened, because I don't want to wind up in the history books.
That's a great catch, because I actually did not realize that until you mentioned it. We are in the infamous January 6th date.
Man, I was caught with my pants down on that one because I was just shopping nearby and I was like, hey, what's going on, guys? You guys seem cool. And the FBI really had to interview me a lot to make sure, hey, you're not doing anything suspicious with these guys, are you?
Did you see the T-Man with the Bible upside down?
No. Did you ever see when they asked him what his favorite testament was, new or old, and he couldn't pick between the two of them? Clearly knowing what he's talking about.
Just like a snake oil salesman.
Hey, well, listen, we're not going to get political on the Patreon because I can hear those donations, those donos rolling back.
Couple of boos in the background there.
Boo. But anyway, so we were trying to figure out what we could talk about because it's a new year, but by the time this comes out, I feel like everyone's going to be tired of hearing about New Year's resolutions.
Sure.
With that said, do you have a favorite New Year's resolution that you are excited about doing?
Yeah, it kind of came to me randomly, but this year I'm going to be starting my saxophone lessons and really bear down on the instrument and really pick it back up. Because last year I made the decision to get one. I was tinkering with it a lot. And then I had like a dry spell where I had to prioritize other things like work and new job stuff. And the saxophone kind of fell to the wayside. And I didn't want to bring it back to the rental store because I was like, I still want to mess with this thing. And if I dare try to return it, I feel like it's going to be out of my clutches. It's going to be out of my vision, out of my grasp for the future. So I'm like, I'm going to keep it here. I know that I'm going to pick it up. And then, you know, as the new year came, I was thinking to myself, I was like, no, I want to get back to it and actually really start to learn this instrument. So that's really going to be like my favorite New Year's resolution to start the year off. And it should be fun. I got my first lesson scheduled for next week. So
awesome! So it's in the books now. That's great.
Yeah, it's official.
Sweet.
Made my contacts and stuff. So tuned up my horn. I believe yesterday because it was making some weird sounds on some notes. So yeah,
I just imagine you playing it, and it's like it's all you, and you're like, oh, this thing's kind of messed up. like the Darksyde Phil of saxophone players, or dropping my inputs. What the
hell? Well, this really sucks.
Wow, this thing sucks. Yeah, I gotta talk to this teacher about this.
Oh yeah, I honestly, to be real, it's really like a 50-50 because my for people in the know, my embouchure is like horrible now because I hadn't played it in a while, which is basically like the way you put your mouth on the onto the reed and the mouthpiece, and it has to be like a certain way or else like the sound doesn't come out right. And
sure,
so my face muscles are out of practice, and yeah, so gotta get back in. So you know the lessons will help me get my skills back to a super novice level, you know, rather than super extra novice. Yeah. Awesome. Extra novice to super novice. So yeah. How about you, man? What do you think about for this year?
Yeah, I'm going to try to limit it to one. There's actually going to be something we're going to talk about in the Dad Men episode that relates to a resi.
Cool,
but one thing that I want to do is do a better job of keeping this office and this studio a creative space. And
yeah.
So this week I hung up the Mad Men painting. You can't see it because it's this pop filter is in the way. But I have some artwork that I bought. I have a Bruce Lee picture. I'll post a picture of this on Instagram at some point.
Nice.
It's a Bruce Lee poster, and it shows him in his famous yellow yellow tracksuit. It's not a gi.
Sure.
On,
yeah,
man.
It's like a track. Yeah, it's like a weird
tracksuit.
Yeah.
And also it's really artfully done where in the background it's him in the yellow gi, and then in the front of the picture, the painting, it's him leaning on this really cool classic car. So it shows him being like a legend, but then also having leisure too. And I feel like that's a great vibe to bring to your creative space, where it's like,
for sure,
you want to be creating stuff that's bigger than life and your creative stuff, but you also want to remember you're a human being who needs to rest and relax. And,
right. Enjoy yourself, etc., etc.
I have some great manga in here. Some great stuff. I'll do a room tour on YouTube or something, but I'm really, I'm proud of making this like a space that I actually enjoy being in, because one, it's where I actually work at my job, and two, it used to be like my sister's room, but when I moved back home with my mom, I don't know. I felt I had this real weird block where I'm like, if I take anything out of my moving boxes, then I'm admitting that I'm living here for a long time.
Oh, sure. I see.
I've lived here for a pretty long time, like a year and a half or whatever. So
sure.
I think it's okay to, and we're going to talk about this in Dad Men, but I am making the steps to get out of here soon.
Gotcha. Okay.
So now I'm like, you know what? It's a little bit of work to make this place more presentable for me and more creative, but the work is worth it. And that's something I've been feeling a lot this year. The work is worth it. I've also been running more. I'm not running 3 times a week like I would like to, but I am running sometimes.
Nice. That's awesome. That's a great move for sure.
Yeah, that's why you can tell I'm sort of in super novice running mode. You could see this body didn't happen by accident,
No, you look good, man. I meant to tell you that earlier, or when we met last time. I was like, this guy's looking. I'm seeing this guy. He's coming up right now.
I don't want to say that I'm not getting carried away or nothing, but I'm having a moment.
I see you.
The stock.
I see you.
If you're looking at the Michael D. Rowland stock, It's going up a little bit right now. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. No, that's very nice. We gotta, as dudes, we gotta make sure to compliment each other.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you brought it up the last time we hung out, because I feel like we've had a really good streak of like really funny running into each other moments, like when we meet up at the places, like when we met up for my birthday, and I was walking to Banshan, you were just coming out of your car when I was walking up to Banshan, and you were like, "Hey, what are you doing?" You know, like just some stupid, the classic thing where you pretend to be like a scary guy yelling at you, or
Yep. Well, I popped open the door.
yeah. And it's like, "Hey man, what are you doing?" And then we saw a woman who works for DoorDash come out and be like, "That place smells like sewage," and it did kind of smell weird in there. I wish we hadn't met that woman, because I don't know.
She really framed the room to smell like a certain thing. And
maybe wouldn't have noticed if it wasn't.
No.
But and then when we met up at the mall the other day, I walked up to you and we did like a cool handshake, and I then said I wanted to say "What's up, dog," but I didn't know if kids still say that or not. You know, so
it's out of vogue, man. It's out of vogue.
Two really good intros, and along with this one, this has been a great intro.
We're like a sitcom.
We're like a sitcom where the laughs are only in our heads.
Indeed. Unfortunately,
that's beautiful. But, I mean, I was thinking about this earlier today, where until we release these pods, we're pretty much two kids like playing pretend that we have a podcast. You know, have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, that framing is actually hilarious.
It's true. We're just right now we are like pretending that we have a podcast because this hasn't come out yet, and we haven't posted anything in like a year. So it's
I actually really love that framing, like, because it's almost everybody that's creating something before it's released is putting on. Yeah, they are trying to assume a position before it's before it's actually exposed to the world, and so it's a level of pretend, but pretend with a lot of effort, a lot of concentration, a lot of dedication, passion. It's perfect for a childlike state. So that's great. We got to encapsulate that. That was nice. I like that.
Well, yeah, but you turned it around too, where it's like when you're creating a demo as a musician, you're pretending that it's a song. You're pretending that you're creating a shitty first draft that you're like, there's no way this is good enough to be real. And then when you look at the shitty first draft a year later, you're like, oh, that was like 80% there. Like,
it was almost there. Yep.
It's giving you the space to play and be free to be creative. And so that's why you and I right now, we're two boys pretending that we have a podcast. But when we listen back, we're going to be like, whoa, this is a pod, man.
This is like a real deal thing. Oh, yeah.
Ideally.
I mean, the people know. The people know. They've seen us a little bit.
They've seen us, yeah.
They're in the family already.
Maybe. Welcome to the family. I'm trying to do like a Marlon Brando.
You need some cotton swabs.
I know.
That's why it's not working.
I need something in my mouth. Maybe it's someone just punching me in the mouth. I don't know.
Right. A little swollen.
Well, I was just saying for doing a stupid Italian voice, but sure.
Retribution.
Yeah. Anyway, those Italians, if you do a bad Italian accent, thank God that like you can't punch people through a computer, because I would be getting punched so hard right now by the Sopranos.
Wait, speaking of Italian, was it you that I was talking about? Do you have some Italian?
I believe I have German and I think it's German and Italian. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why we stumbled upon that, but it was either you or someone else, but I'm pretty sure it was you. I was like, we mentioned something about Italy or Italian.
Wait, Italian? No, Irish. What the hell am I talking about?
Irish, sure.
Oh, God.
Who was I talking to that I was talking? They were saying that they had
Dermot.
They were.
Yes. I'm not. Hey, it's okay. Dermot. How you doing? Hey, Mr. Dermot, I got a pizza pie for you. Oh boy, my Irish ancestors are just like, you thought you were Italian for a second? What the fuck?
It's darker hair, blah blah blah, olives. Yeah, actually,
Would
you say your? I was gonna say, is your skin olive? Would you say your skin is olive tone? Or?
I don't know. I thought you were just talking about olives all of a sudden. Olives,
olives. Italy.
You ever had those
olive oil?
Olives. They do love olive oil. You see people cooking with olive oil from Italy, and they're like, "Hey, we'll just put a little olive oil here," and they just like have a bathtub full of it.
Just a little bit.
All right. Enough fooling around.
Of course.
Keep making fun of Italy all day.
No. I'll go there someday. It's a destination hope.
So a lot of people have been wondering, where are these guys? Where have they been? And what have they been doing?
Exactly.
And I figured we've done episodes where it's like, let's catch up on like our top 5 of the year. That was on my other podcast, Is This Podcast Name Taken? But I thought one of the main things that we always get sidetracked on when trying to stay focused on Don Draper and Pete and Peggy and the gang is we start talking about anime and manga a lot of the time.
Yeah, for sure. That does slip in pretty frequently through episodes. A lot of references, a lot of nods, and that happened during the episode. People in the know kind of know what we're talking about, but
yeah.
This bonus episode is really going to be based solely around that and some of the stuff that we've been kind of watching and reading and checking out, and things that we really have been enjoying over the past time that we've been gone. Yeah,
because I figure, I don't know about you, but I've been reading a lot of manga in 2023 when we took our hiatus. And so I thought it'd be cool to talk about some of my favorite mangas / animes. And this episode is called, if you haven't looked at the title, it's called Are You Talking Anime to Anime? And we're gonna talk about some some Japanese manga anime. Do you want to start us off, Jallah? What's a manga or anime you got into in 2023?
Yeah, so my list is a little smaller. Because, last year actually was a giant gaming year for me. A lot of good stuff that came out last year, so I was kind of occupied in that space. But I did pick up one very notable manga. I think it's technically probably my first manga that I'm reading seriously front to back, or that I've started anyway. And that manga is the classic Berserk. Yes. Picked up Berserk. I think I was on YouTube, and I watch a few different guys on YouTube that talk about anime. Totally Not Mark and a few other guys.
I watch him as well.
He's a great content creator. Great. Love his channel. If you guys haven't checked it out, anime fans, huge, definitely a fan favorite. So I was surfing on his site, and I think some recommended stuff came up, and I kept, periodically I would just hear people randomly mention Berserk. Berserk is the greatest thing ever. Guts is amazing. Obviously Guts has like a million references in pop culture as far as like the giant sword and, being like this, brilliant swordsman and stuff like that. So I kept seeing his name come up. I kept seeing Berserk come up, and I was like, okay, does he have an anime? Because I'm more of a watcher versus a reader. So I was like, is there an anime I can watch? So I searched on Reddit, and Reddit people were saying like, well, if you're not gonna, they would always start with the best way to consume Berserk is through the manga. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, and I'm like, all right. I'm like, okay, I got that. I understand that. But what's the anime that I could watch that would maybe accumulate all of that stuff? And people would give me examples like, well, if you watch, this video from 98 and then this new one that came out in like 2005 and you watch those back to back, it's like assembling of the manga. And I'm like, this doesn't sound good. I don't like this process. Amalgamation of like two ideas mushed together. No. Right?
There's no perfect adaptation for Berserk. There's not even a good adaptation for Berserk.
Right. Exactly.
It's a really strange situation because it's a manga that is so beloved, so widely regarded as a classic, and yet somehow no studio has taken it upon themselves to be like, let's start from the Black Swordsman arc and do a proper retelling of the story. It's they skip to I forget the name of the arc with Griffith, but the golden, I can't remember. So I'm burying the lead because this was also a big thing for me in 2023 was I started reading the Golden Age arc. I started reading Berserk as well. And I have the 2 huge tomes of they're over there. I'm still
here's a visual. I can give you guys a visual. So this is what it looks like from the front, but check the thickness on that.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's huge. It's like, this is not a small book. This is just book 1, mind you.
And that's three of the original manga volumes in one collection.
Absolutely. So it's like I didn't, so like I was saying before, they haven't properly done like a end-to-end anime for it. So I was like, you know what? What I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna buy one of the small volumes, one of the little books of Berserk, the first one, and I'm gonna read that, and I want to see how I feel about it. Because I went into the store and I saw how big it was, and I was like, this is a big commitment. So I was like, I'm not going to buy this unless I like what I'm reading in this first little volume. So I bought the little volume first, combing through that. Really liked the artwork that was in it. Like the paneling. I just liked what I saw. I was getting into it. Starts off a little slow, but it would pick up, and I was like, okay. I think this is interesting enough for me to pick up the first book. So I picked up the first book, started reading it, and I really, really enjoyed what I've been reading. I have not finished my first book yet. Like I said, I had started it and I was really getting to a groove, and then a lot happened with gaming for me last year, and so it pulled my interest away, and I came back to it, and been reading more and more of it as the year has not restarted, but as the new year has come in. And
if only the year would restart.
Yes, the restart of the year. But it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I think it's beautifully illustrated.
Yeah.
I just really I enjoyed it. I really liked it. So that was a big one that I jumped into this last year.
Yeah, I mean, same for me. The art is like my favorite manga art that I've ever seen. I'm someone who's read a lot of different, Japanese comic books, and it's like every page is so beautiful, and so like the inking is so perfect. The line work is so delicate and yet so confident. The paneling, you mentioned that. I've heard people complain about the Black Swordsman arc, about it's hard to follow what's going on. And the first thing I thought while reading that arc was, I can follow everything perfectly. This was in the height of my like OCD in terms of content consumption.
Oh, sure.
And I was able to follow everything. And there's this moment. Well, I would say that what moved me, I don't want to skip to the final moment of that arc because one, you haven't finished it sounds like.
Sure.
But when Guts is talking to people and saying like, oh, you're just a weakling. You don't deserve to live, and he's saying all this shit. It's hard to explain, but you can tell that he's just like, there's something so broken inside of him.
Yes.
It's that thing where like, it's just tearing my guts up to hear. Oh, guts! It's tearing my heart. It's tearing my heart apart though, because I'm like, this guy doesn't really mean that, you know. But it's like that Family Guy. This is stolen from my brother Joe, I believe. But there's that Family Guy clip where it's like this guy who he's in an office with Peter, and it turns out he's like this jackass with a heart of gold, or he's like a complete asshole at work, and then it turns out he saved like an entire orphanage or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a teddy bear. It's a teddy bear. And, well, I won't call Guts a teddy bear, but the idea behind it is that he cares more than he lets on.
Yeah,
and the manga doesn't really. Yeah. No, go ahead.
Well, he's trying to put up a shield, a front, and he's trying to say the things that like his intrusive, depressed thoughts are telling him. And it honestly, dude, this is where you can make fun of me for this later on, listeners. But like, I totally relate to the way he's acting in that first book or so, where he's just
sure.
Like that's how I felt at the time I was reading the book, where I was just like, I don't believe in myself. I'm never going to get through this. Nobody can help me, and I'm not going to be there for anyone else. I'm just garbage, and
right.
Just saying hurtful things internally, of course, I was saying them, but just in a really dark place. But there's this moment at the end of the arc, and it is so crushing. I can't wait for you to get it because I think you'll know what it is. But
yeah, for sure.
Guts is doing like his thing where he's being a complete asshole to someone and saying, really mean shit. And that fairy character, I forgot the fairy's name, but really, really awesome comic relief character that actually really works in this setting and everything. He's like about to confront Guts and say like, well, what's wrong with you? Why are you saying that? And then the next page is like this close-up shot of Guts, and I won't spoil what his face looks like, but I just like went like into tears. Like I was just completely floored. And
yeah, man,
it's become something of a meme online now just because I think people are sort of uncomfortable with how brazenly emotional it is, and it's a bit over the top compared to how the show or the series gets in the Golden Age arc, which I'm in the middle of right now. But it sometimes the big moments, like in It's a Wonderful Life or some other tearjerker thing, sometimes the big moments can hit you really hard, and because that's what they're there for. That's what they were.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the amazing part about the manga that I'm realizing thus far is that they're able to convey how he feels through the pages, because obviously like you're reading these things, and the beauty of the manga is you get a visual while you're reading, and they will have certain panels where Guts is he'll give you a face of concern or a face of worry or a face of even dread while he's like inside his mind or something like that, or facing these like almost these literal demons in a sense. And you can tell like he's very uncomfortable with how things are going, how things are happening, like how he feels like internally and stuff like that. And he kind of just outwardly is very like obviously like asshole, like snarky guy, like I don't care about you, but you can tell like there's scenes in that like you've read when I believe the guy's name is Vargas, when he meets Vargas and he sees what was done to him and stuff like that, and there's a part in that not that scene, but in that storytelling where he kind of relates to this like freakish character in a way because of like his dismemberment and stuff like that and his pain. And the only difference is this guy doesn't have the strength or the wherewithal, his skill to, I guess, enact revenge. But a person like Guts does, but he does have a very similar fear to Vargas as well. So it's like, but obviously he doesn't show that to anybody, around him, neither the fairy, but on certain panels, you can tell he's like, has to hype himself. He's got to get himself to like do the thing. Like, cause I think he's scared. You know what I mean? Like, that's a little bit of inside baseball of like what's going on in some of the storyline of the first book. But, I really enjoyed that part. And, I remember, I think you even like messaged me, like when you got to that point, you're like, yo, this part is crazy when you get to it. And I was like, I finally got there, and I'm like, yeah, this is dope. Yeah,
I definitely, I had that moment where I'm like, dude, I'm on book 2 now. You gotta catch up. And now I'm sort of stalled right now. And I feel bad for, being a Guts to you and saying, listen, you weakling, you must
get
all kidding aside though, the book does a great job, or the series does a great job of like, you and I are both going off of like what's conveyed artistically, but not in the text. Like, it's never like the text comes right out and says, like Guts doesn't say, well, I'm scared, or he doesn't say, I'm secretly putting up a wall, like you and I could be wrong, but we know we're not because of the great work of the manga artist, author.
Yes.
Kentaro Miura. I want to say that's how you pronounce their name.
Yeah, Miura. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But yeah, no, really great series. I look forward to reading more of it. We should probably bring it up more on these bonus episodes, because I feel like you and I could have some great discussions about each book. We could have a little Berserk book club.
Yes, absolutely. I'm down for that.
Okay, and then Yoda just got here for some reason. Did I ever tell you? Did I ever show you the slapping Yoda video that uses Guts theme from the 1998 anime?
I don't think so.
I'll send that to you, because it's the funniest video of all time, and it is related to Berserk.
Okay, cool.
I love it. It's my favorite YouTube video. I had a phase this summer where I was sharing it to everyone, and just nobody liked it. But I think it's the funniest video. It's a puppet Yoda, and let's just say it gets slapped, and Guts theme plays because of the betrayal and the sadness that the puppet feels. Anyway, okay, well, great pick. If it's okay with you, I would like to do 2, because I don't want to take too long with each show, and there's some shows that I've seen that you haven't seen. I think probably most of these. So
yeah, for sure. I'm behind in the anime game, honestly.
Okay, so I'll do 2. The first one I'd like to bring up is Oddtaxi. This is a show that it seems to be really underappreciated. I think it could be because it's like, so it takes place in a world where animals are like, it's like Zootopia or Beastars or whatever, in terms of the animals are on their bipedal. Is that how you pronounce it? And
bipedal,
and they're humanized, anthropomorphized. And so I think that can turn people off. And I don't even remember, I think I must have been reading Reddit or something. But I saw the commentary about the show. It seemed very rooted in emotion and in genre. Oh, I think it was a Super Eyepatch Wolf video. Do you know Super Eyepatch Wolf?
I don't, actually.
That is a YouTuber who has a similar accent to Totally Not Mark. And when you brought Totally Not Mark up, I almost wanted to bring him up.
Got you. Okay.
I believe he recommended this. I could be having a dream, some beautiful dream, but because I don't know where else I could have heard of this. But
sure.
The way it was described was it just seemed like there was something very deep going on here. Genre wise. And yeah, this is a show that, it's like a mystery show. There's comedy, incredible comedy and wordplay elements. There is suspense, horror, tragedy. It's really, also, there's so many different characters. There's a huge ensemble cast. And, I don't want to go too into it, because the plot unfolds like this beautiful mystery, and you've never seen anything like this show, I'll tell you. And people who call it just another Beastars or whatever, it's really reductive and really unfortunate, because the animal aspect of it is really not something that you should focus on.
And I feel like the tones are completely different.
But yeah, most people don't give it a chance to find out the tone, because, and I wouldn't have either if it wasn't for like the reading I did on it. You know what I mean? Like if I'm scrolling Crunchyroll, and I see this animal anime, I'll be honest, I have my doubts about if I'm interested in that.
Sure.
It's not one I want to talk about too much. Just check it out. Check out the first 2 episodes, I would say. I'm not trying to be that guy who says, don't just watch the first episode because it gets good in episode 17. It's right. It's a self-contained show that has a point A and point Z, and it's one season of television. They had a plan the whole time, and it's beautifully written. It's really good.
Sure.
It's
For
not.
Sure. And go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go.
I was going to say, you mentioned that, and I forgot that you had told me that you had watched it last year.
Yeah.
And told me to check it out, and I did watch a few of the episodes, and I liked what I saw. I didn't get to finish it because I'm in a state of like jumping in, dabble, jumping out to a new thing and dabbling with that. That's kind of like my flow. That's been like the flow of like 2023 is like jumping in, dabble, jump out to the next thing and dabble in that. So
I blame the video games.
Oh yeah.
Just like the congressman, whenever anything, I'm getting political again. Let's just...
This GTA is ruining the children's minds.
Before GTA, we never had any sort of shoplifting.
There was no murders that occurred in the country.
Shootings. Okay. My next choice, this is one that I'm actually digging in on the anime and the manga at the same time.
Oh, cool.
I never thought I would watch this or read it because I hated the title so much.
Sure.
Oh, before we go into this, the opening for Oddtaxi, at least watch that because it has the funkiest, freshest opening of 2023 or whenever it came out.
I agree with you.
So cool. Really great.
The intro's
opening.
great.
And if you have an anime, you got to make sure the opening is one of the best songs you've ever heard.
Absolutely. You'll be off on the wrong foot if your intro music sucks.
If it's not 5, well, I'm even saying it's got to be 5 stars. I think it's...
That's true.
All the best anime, all the serviceable anime has an at least 4.5 star opening.
At least.
If you have a mediocre anime, I will forgive it if the opening is fire. That's all I'm saying.
That's a good point. I mean, that's a great point, honestly.
I don't remember anything about the show Yu Yu Hakusho, but the opening is one of my 5 favorite songs of all time. I'm pretty sure.
Bro, we are the same. We have the same minds. I was gonna bring up Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yusuke Urameshi. Yeah, he's
that intro is easily one of the best. Top 5, easy.
Remind me to tell you future Dermot plans because there's something with that intro I'm doing. But
that's gonna be fire. Gonna be fire.
That's all I'm saying. Just let me cook. Let me cook.
Yes, let the man cook, as they say.
Let the man cook. Jallah's begging the imaginary haters to let me cook.
Let him cook, please.
Yeah. But this next show, I really was resistant to it because the title is called My Dress Up Darling.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Ugh. Yeah, this is an interesting title.
Horrible title. I hate it so much. And I would see the YouTube recommend would put it in my feed and I'd go, oh, this is so stupid. Fucking My Dress Up
nonsense.
My Dress Up Darling. Yes. What am I? Some sort of girl? So anyway.
It's like My Pretty Punk Princess.
My Pretty Punk Princess. Yeah. So it's called My Dress Up Darling. And, I got recommended to me by a friend, Amber, and she has good taste in manga and anime. And I was like, shoot, that's a recommendation from a real friend. Now I have to watch this or read it. And I read the first volume and I'll try to give my Cliff's Notes on the basic plot summary. It's about this guy named Gojo who he wants to be a Hina doll maker. Those are those like classic Japanese dolls where they have black hair and it's in a bun and beautiful makeup and Japanese robes. Forgive me if I'm not using the right parlance, but or terms. But and they're like really small. They're on like these wooden sticks.
Sure.
And he wants to be the best ever. And his grandpa taught him how to do it. And the show begins with him having a traumatic nightmare / flashback where a girl who was his childhood friend, I believe, she's screaming at him like, why are you doing this with those dolls? That's for girls. And so he's being shamed for something he's into. And, this guy, he's a loner at school. He doesn't have friends. But through happenstance, in a truly anime way, he becomes friends with this girl named Marin Kitagawa, and she is one of my favorite anime characters / manga characters of all time. She is so cool. So it's sort of a nerd fantasy fulfillment thing where it's the loner nerd has like this hot girl take an interest in him, and they become friends at first, but. She has so much like nerd energy. She loves anime. She loves like really creepy sexual PC games.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
she is a total geek, but also she is very into like letting people like what they like. Or that's a phrase that's become loaded over time. But it's like like there was this guy who made fun of her for being a nerd, and she's like, why would you make fun of someone for what they like? That sucks, And she's like, cool, such a positive character, and like so much personality. I would fight someone if they were like, Kitagawa sucks. Like she is by far the best part of the show, and it's so cool that like for this type of show, you would be worried that it would be like, I don't know, this type of formula. You can have like the main guy be kind of boring, like a Tenchi Muyo thing, right? Where it's like, this boring ass dweeb has a harem of women, and their personalities are mostly like super over the top cartoony, and then their main thing is to fawn over him. But no, she has her own life, her own interests, and she has her own personality quirks, and she's funny as hell, man. She's great. So
that's awesome. That sounds great.
And their relationship starts out as just being friends, and it organically develops in a way that you wouldn't expect. So
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That sounds cool.
Manga and anime are both great. I don't know what studio does the anime, but the animation is perfect. It's a perfect adaptation of the manga. So
that's dope. I think you mentioned that, and that was a great pull that you mentioned Tenchi Muyo, because I remember that show as well. Yeah, the main character is like, he's like
girls, stop fighting over me.
Yeah, he's so plain and uninteresting. It's hilarious.
There's so many of those harem shows where I'm like, why do these women like this guy so much?
Is that like slice of life? Like, is that a slice of life type anime? Like, I hear that term used every so often. I don't usually know.
It's a different type of fantasy. That's like romantic fantasy.
Sure.
I refuse to call that slice of life. I think My Dress Up Darling is more of a slice of life type of thing, because it's like actually exploring like the dynamics of going to school together with someone and like getting to know a real human being, as opposed to aliens from outer space who want to jump your bones for seemingly no real reason.
Yes. No reason at all, really.
Except Ryoko from Tenchi Muyo. She knew him when he was a little baby boy. So kind of
she makes more sense.
Well, no, but that's kind of fucked up.
Sure.
Hey, man. Hey, with the madmen we're talking about today, we're going to get into problematic women. Believe me.
Woo.
Just kidding. All women are queens. We must respect them.
Bow now, Mike.
All right. Do you have another manga anime pick?
One that was actually more recent. It wasn't so much. I think it might have been like the very end of the year into this year. Which I actually didn't think was technically an anime, but apparently it is a Japanese company, and it is on Netflix. It is Scott Pilgrim. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Fucking Scott Pilgrim adaptation on Netflix. It's dope, yo.
It's on my list as well, my friend.
Yeah, see? We're here, man.
Well, I thought I forgot to get squirrely about the fact that we both somehow like randomly got into Berserk at the same time. Because I remember you and I were like texting about Berserk, and I think I don't know who mentioned that they were reading it first, but I think it was
I sent you like a picture of the book or something.
I mentioned it to you first, and then you sent me a picture of the book, and I was like, holy shit. So even when we were on a break from Dad Men, we were still simpatico.
We're still linked.
We still have this horrible burden of being, linked. Super linked. Okay, sorry for interrupting. Linked. But
no.
When you mentioned Netflix and like not being sure if it was a Japanese like company or anime, I was like, oh man, please say Scott Pilgrim, because I have stuff to say about this too, so we can actually like.
Yeah, man. I haven't finished it, but I mean, I've seen the reason why I wanted to check it out is because obviously I saw the movie. I don't know, like in 10, 12. No. It's probably like maybe like 2009, 10 or whatever that they came Scott Pilgrim. Is it Scott Pilgrim Saves the World?
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Versus the World, yeah. Scott Pilgrim versus the World movie with Michael Cera and Miss Winstead or something like. I think that's
Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Yes, that's correct.
Very fancy name. But yeah, and I was a fan of that. Really enjoyed that movie. Thought it was pretty funny. And I thought, looking back, that movie shouldn't have been executed as well as it was, considering that it's like a graphic novel and it's like a weird concept to like do in like a live action, and somehow it worked. The guy he pulled it off. I was like, wow, this is if you really look at it, like he actually made this concept and this idea and these visuals work within a live action setting. I mean, think about it, man. We've had so many attempts at live action for not only just graphic novels, but animes that have just like flopped because like they can't nail like the aesthetic, or they can't nail the feeling of what the anime was, or whatever the manga was, or whatever the graphic novel was. There's some missing piece, but from my perspective, the Scott Pilgrim movie was done really well. So I was like, I'm going to check out this, Netflix has been advertising it. So I was like, I'm going to check it out. And they nailed it again. Nailed the feeling of it. Love the art style. I mean, obviously it's like fit to, look like whatever the manga, whatever the graphic novel looks like. And it's done really well. I really like that they used a lot of the American actors as the voice actors for the characters.
I think all of them.
If you watch it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Pretty much all of them, right? And I was like, I was hearing them talk, and I was like, wait a minute, is that, I was like, is that Aubrey Plaza? And then I like look it up, and I'm like, oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all of them.
It's an incredible cast.
Yeah. That's super dope.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. I mean, so I've watched the whole thing. I have, you and I are very different in some ways, because I'm usually Mr. I gotta finish this shit. I don't binge, as we've talked about, but I do try to finish the shows. I'm actually not finished with my Dress Up Darling though. So hey,
sure.
I'm becoming more Jallah like, hopefully.
Don't be like me, kids. It's good to finish. I do finish things.
What you start.
Exactly. I do finish, but the thing is, in this age and time of Daddy Land that I live in,
yeah,
everything's slow roll.
I got
Everything
you.
is like a million times slower than it would be if I had enough free time to just sit and
no disrespect intended.
Of course not.
Father.
I must justify my tardiness and my speed level with my newly fatherhood.
It's life's not a race, but
That's true.
So I also watched Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, and I would say it's my favorite animation since Dragon Ball Super Broly. I think the economy of the animation is so great because, like, during the regular dialogue scenes, these character designs are so perfect and simple.
Yes,
that you can pull off so many great pieces of animation, but they can also look beautiful just when they're doing not much at all, if that makes sense. Because the color choice is perfect.
Yeah,
I think it looks better than the graphic novels too. It's like an improvement on something that was already great.
Right.
Did you read the graphic novels? It sounds like you didn't.
No, I had not. I think I was only aware of it after the fact of seeing the movie.
Sure.
And I was like, what is this? And I think I looked it up and I was like, oh, dope.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that there was a huge portion of the fans of Scott Pilgrim, the graphic novel, who were really disappointed by this adaptation, because I actually don't blame them necessarily, because Netflix, the first trailer for it, advertises it using only scenes from that first episode, pretty much. And it's advertised as a straight up adaptation of like the graphic novel. You know what I mean? Like, it's
interesting.
Yeah, because it only takes stuff from that first episode, and then a huge twist happens. We're past spoilers at this point.
Sure, of course.
I won't say what the twist is, but it starts to be clear this is going to be a totally different story than the movie or the graphic novel. And to me, So I read the graphic novels when they had just recently come out. I read the whole series, and it's very cool, that original graphic novel series, but I had no like longing to see it retold. Like I was interested just because it's something that I'm a little bit nostalgic for, being from the aughts. But when I saw that it was a new thing, I became more excited. And it becomes actually the author criticizing a lot of stuff from the original graphic novel in terms of
interesting.
Yeah, in terms of like the way he wrote certain characters, the way certain characters were received by the audience. And it's also like a celebration of the movie by Edgar Wright, while also correcting some of the stuff that the movie didn't get a chance to do due to the limited runtime. Edgar Wright, the reason why that movie works is because Edgar Wright seemed to get full creative control of it. He's a great director. Are you familiar with his other work?
Yeah, I can't think of it at the moment, but I know I've seen some of his stuff.
Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead.
Yes, exactly.
World's End.
I've seen it.
Ant-Man. Don't forget Ant-Man. Oh, wait. He was kicked off of Ant-Man by Marvel.
I was going to say the most recent one.
Yeah, man. You couldn't tell? Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Just like him.
Quantumaniums. Yes.
Oh, my God.
Well, anyway. I've told you this, but the pod listeners don't know that on my flight back from California, I was on a plane. Oh, yeah. Imagine that, on a flight. And they offered films on this plane. And I started Ant-Man and the Wasp for Quantum Friends. And I got to Mr. Scott Lang talking to his daughter about, hey, you shouldn't be protesting stuff. And she's like, well, I'm just, I want to protest. And then Jonathan Majors says, don't forget about me. And then I had to turn it off. That's, that I may be remembering that wrong, because I also watched La La Land on a plane. But
dancing and singing.
But all kidding aside, I had to turn that off after the discussion about his daughter, and the new daughter actor is so bad, and I just said, this sucks. And I watched Sonic 2 instead, and that also sucked, but in a more fun and cozy way, where I'm like, okay, yeah, Jim Carrey's being a loud idiot, Knuckles is great because Idris Elba rules, and he's like,
Idris is fantastic.
You can tell he's totally committed to playing this Red Echidna, and Tails is fine. He's just kind of being a whiny little baby, and then Sonic is also a whiny baby in these movies. So, but he becomes less whiny by helping the whinier baby. So it kind of there's this scene in the last few minutes of the movie where they're fighting Eggman together, and it's like, oh yeah, this could be a cool movie if it was like this vibe for an hour and a half as opposed to for a couple minutes.
Right.
And we have this stupid park ranger donut lord who's Sonic's stupid dad. Like,
Donut lord.
I don't want to be watching a movie where Sonic's like, I love you, dad, to this weird human actor,
Yeah,
it's so creepy weird. And weird. Yeah, I like Sonic. Teenager. Yeah, I like Sonic to be like a weird, well, the characterization's weird for an American hero, but to be a 16-year-old who does not really want to save the world. He'd rather be like listening to cool music, eating chili dogs.
Right.
But he's going to do it because nobody else has the speed and the power to save the world like he can.
They're calling on him, basically.
Yeah, the put upon hero, the hero's journey. But
exactly.
I don't like him being just this whiny baby who's just like, oh, I'm so lonely.
Nobody hangs out with me.
Nobody wants to eat Chili's dogs with me.
Right, in my tree house.
If he was voiced by the guy from Family Matters, then I'd still like it, but
it would fit better.
Yeah, Urkel. Anyway, back to Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. I thought the fact that it told a new story was great. That said, just because a story is new doesn't mean that it's good. So, to be clear, the animation's stellar. The new story is really interesting and cool. I would say there was maybe 1 or 2 episodes where it gets a little dips a bit, but the last 2 or 3 episodes are phenomenal. I'd say the whole season is a success. I think some of the voice acting I mainly don't like the voice acting for the vegan character because it sounds so similar to Chris Evans' voice acting for Lucas Lee. But it's a minor quibble. They sound just alike, though. It's really
interesting.
Yeah,
I like Chris Evans's character voice and how he plays that guy. It's hilarious.
I think overall it's a really great. I think it's so cool that it's like a yin yang thing where it's celebrating the graphic novel and the movie, and also acknowledging stuff from both of them that's not perfect. And that's all I'll say. Check it out. Fantastic animation and artwork, and I just thought it was so cool to see something truly creative and different with these characters. And I figured if you're a fan of the show, you would be excited to see new stories with characters you love. But I understand that the way it was presented, and Netflix has this weird thing where they will reboot something. I don't know if this is like a conspiracy, but they'll reboot something and say, this is a thing you love. And then, for example, the He-Man Masters of the Universe reboot, where the first episode has He-Man get killed. And the rest of the show is some other character is the lead of the show.
Really?
Yeah, that's genuinely what happened. Kevin Smith wrote it. And
interesting.
Yeah, they kill off He-Man, and it's well, why would you call this
a He-Man show?
But then it becomes a Masters of the Universe show after that first episode. But doesn't that seem kind of like
you're leading people on when you say this is He-Man?
And so that's how they did the same thing with the Scott Pilgrim show in a way.
Right. I can see
where
that.
It's it was advertised as, wow, this is the story that we remember from the graphic novel. We finally have 10 episodes or 8 episodes, I think it is, to explore the story in a more thorough way compared to the movie. And then it's gotcha. So I do have empathy for the fans. I hope, and I think this will happen, that as time goes on, people will get to give it another shot in a few months' time or a few years' time. I've had albums that came out, and because of how I was at the way I was during the time the album came out, or the way it was rolled out by the band, I didn't enjoy it at the time. And then I listened to it 5 years later and I'm like, oh, this is pretty radical, so it can happen. Sure. I think time will be kind to this, but it took some risks, and the whole idea of addressing criticisms of your previous work, that can be a snake eating its own tail as an artist. And they manage it, I think, but that's just my opinion.
For sure. No, I'm with you on that.
And last thing. Yeah. In terms of voice acting, I loved Michael Cera as Scott Pilgrim, the animated Scott Pilgrim. I love him. Right? I love him.
Yeah.
I think it's perfect. I think it's so great. And I actually really dislike. So I like the Scott Pilgrim versus the World movie as its own thing.
Yes, exactly.
As an adaptation of the graphic novel, I'm of two minds about it, where I like it as its own thing and I know it's a good movie, but I also really don't like Michael Cera as Scott Pilgrim, and I don't like a lot of the stuff when I think of the graphic novel next to it. You know what I mean?
But I can see that. Yeah.
Edgar Wright's a great director. It's a cool movie.
He made it work.
Yeah. But I wish Michael Cera wasn't Scott Pilgrim. But in the show, he nails it perfectly. So I what can I say? What can I say except it all worked out in the end?
Yeah, and so much so that I questioned if it was Michael Cera. I was like, I think everybody's in the show, but Scott Pilgrim, he doesn't sound like. And then I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, it is still him. I was like,
isn't that weird?
His performance is way different.
I don't know if he's probably gotten more voice acting experience since that movie came out,
Yeah.
But there's such a richness to his voice work in the show. It's so
a rich youthfulness.
He sounds younger than he has in a long time. It's really interesting.
It is really interesting.
I think it's also just the fact that Scott in particular in the show, the way he's animated is so you can tell they put a lot of love and care into how he is animated. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
But and some amazing fight scenes. I mean, no doy. It's an action romance story, but the fight scene in episode 2, I don't want to say what characters because that would spoil it for people, but that's one of my favorite fight scenes I've ever seen. So
yeah, there's some good shit, man. Definitely check it out. Highly recommended.
Cool.
For me, I think those ones are the ones that stand out to me as some of the best ones that I really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people are like, you guys didn't watch the One Piece? The One Piece?
So I will be totally upfront about this character flaw of mine. I will never, ever give a live action anime adaptation like a fair shake. I will never. I am not interested in it at all. And I'm not saying that makes me like some sort of Puritan or some sort of like
Puritan
elitist or like I genuinely, it's a character flaw. Like I just go, I think it's my inner child who valued anime so much because I grew up in the 90s where it was so weird and niche, and now it's becoming, that sounds like I'm an anime hipster. I'm not saying that I don't want anime to get a broader audience. I'm just saying for me personally, when I see the shots from that One Piece live action thing, cool that people can enjoy it. I don't even like One Piece that much, to be honest. But anyway,
yeah, I'm not huge on One Piece either.
But I'm never
didn't appeal to me. So.
I've never watched Dragon Ball, whatever that fucking live action shit is called.
Abomination.
Yeah, and granted, that one, people hated that one, but I'm just not interested. I don't want to see whatever they do for, Lord Pilaf when they start live action adaptizing Dragon Ball. You know what I mean? Like, it's just going to be silly. And I think I like silliness better in animation than I do with CGI. And I know CGI is a form of animation, but anyway.
But yeah, I'm not into it either.
This is
honestly,
the age
they
thing,
haven't given me enough. Yeah, it's that. And they haven't given us enough reason to care. Because how many fantastic ones were like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, I haven't seen that many. I mean, if you look at it right now, Netflix is doing a fucking Yu Yu Hakusho live action. And I'm like,
I don't want to.
Yeah. Oh, you have not?
No, I have. I have heard about that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't want to see. I watched the trailer and I'm like, no. It just, no.
There are things you can do in animation that you can't do using live action unless you start using the CGI where it becomes a bunch of goop, like Marvel Cinematic Universe shit. That's right. My opinion.
Yeah, and I think for me to really want to give it a shot, it has to be so accurately. It has to be so accurately exactly like what I saw, as far as from a visual standpoint.
Right. Then why
the characters need to look like they came out of the 1980s animation, 1990s animation. Like the clothes, the hair, everything has to be exactly how I remember it for me to be like, all right, if it's just them literally recreating everything that was in the anime and they look the same, maybe I'll watch it just for shits and giggles. But they start changing characters' looks and their hairstyles and stuff, and I'm like, now it's a different thing. I don't care anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I'm saying for me that I'm closed-minded to it. I'm not trying to be this is the right way to be. I'm just saying for me,
Yeah, you're saying how you are.
Yeah, and that's you had mentioned that you want it to be so accurate if it is getting a live action recreation. And yeah, it's if you're going to have to make it so quote accurate, why even bother doing it? Because it's never going to satisfy, the anime diehards. And I don't know. I get really sad thinking about, so for years, there's been rumors about an Akira live action movie.
Yeah. Akira.
And Akira is one of my favorite movies of all time. And people would cheer when news came out that it was getting canceled or, it was being dropped because we don't want to see. But now I'm just worried about Akira is one of the most expensive animated movies of all time to this day because it's perfectly animated. It's frame by frame by frame. Everything is just so fluid and so guttural and so bombastic and futuristic and nihilistic, and there's just I don't want to see it recreated on some green screen, or some. I mean, it wouldn't be a set. They don't make sets like that anymore unless you're. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a Marvel movie. It has to be something where you're spending literally $80 million, or excuse me, $80 million. Well, actually. Speaking of, I'm not exactly sure how much they spend on Marvel movies anymore because I've forgotten. But
it's not.
It would have to be multi-million.
It's not going towards the effects, whatever they're spending. It's going towards the names.
Good point.
It's going towards
good point.
the the food budget,
The food budget, yeah.
Here's the thing. This is an old meme or an old talking point on the internet, but Godzilla -1 came out, and the rumor is that it has like a less than $15 million production budget. And the effects in that, granted, there's less effects shots in that movie than a traditional Marvel movie. However, the stuff that they pulled off, Godzilla looks better in that movie than he has in any of the American Godzilla movies. And he looks better than pretty much any Marvel characters looked in the last 4 years or so.
Sure.
So it's not just about money. It's not just about, spending the most, or having the most people. I think it's also about putting time in. And granted, I don't know the labor conditions of, the Japanese film studio, Toho, but
sure.
I feel like it's about love. It's about care. It's about hopefully workers getting treated right. You never know. There are stories that are coming out about visual effects companies that are just being killed by Marvel, being like, "Hey, can you do this TV show for us? And then can you also do this movie? And can you also do this Disney Plus short extravaganza?"
Just piling on.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I'll watch a live action anime thing someday, but I do have one more show I'd like to bring up / manga. And I think I mentioned it the last time we talked about manga on Dadmen, but it's called Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro. And it's a story about this young man who he's in a library and he's doodling some comic. And this girl who's with her friends is there too. And she sees that he's doodling and takes a look at his comic and starts bullying him. And is like, "Oh, you think that you're, an amazing artist? This is kind of weird." And, her friends leave and she bullies him even more. And he actually starts to cry. So that's the first chapter.
Yes. I remember that. I remember this as you're talking about it. I'm like, okay, I know this one.
So the first few chapters, I would say, are a tough read. However, it's there's always the asterisk when I tell people this is one of my favorite manga, because I'm like, so it's actually really wholesome and sweet. And it's actually an incredibly inspiring story about this guy who, by meeting this spunky, athletic girl, she gets him out of his shell and gets him to like have more of a backbone. And but that first few chapters, it's like, okay, this is abuse. It's pretty rough. It's like that. There's like a fetish for some people who read manga where it's like, "Oh, this girl's bullying me, and I like it," and that's what the first few chapters read like. It's that type of weird fetish shit. But
for sure,
somehow the author finds he finds his soul or something and realizes he's creating something super meaningful. I think it's right around, I have the volumes over there. I think it's like around volume 2 or 3, where he's like, "Oh, wow, this is like actually against my will. It's becoming really sweet and it's becoming really like, again, wholesome."
Yeah.
And,
for sure.
She inspires him to, she bullies him into, the bullying becomes more cute after the second or third chapter. It's like razzing,
teasing,
teasing. There you go. And they start running and working out together, and he starts putting himself out there more as an artist. And over time, we get to learn more about her and what drew her to him in the first place. And she has her own issues, as most bullies do. So it's actually a really inspiring story. It's brought me to tears a few times, and it's I would credit getting back into it in May of this year. Because I after we took the Dadmen break, I started getting in the dumps, down in the dumps, and reading Berserk certainly didn't help. It did help.
The Dark Swordsman.
It did help, but it's that weird thing where it also makes you like appreciate the darkness more in your life in a weird.
Sure.
But it did also help me like. It's hard to explain.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. But it helped, but it didn't like purify those thoughts. Yeah.
Right.
But the Nagatoro series makes me want to be a better person. It makes me want to think of the things that I dream of doing, like putting out the next Dermot record that has been in the pencil sharpening stages for like 4 years because it's pretty much finished, and just stuff I've been too scared to do, like go to Los Angeles or
for sure,
finish I don't know, finish any sort of goals, getting back into doing podcasts. And I'm not saying that it's just this manga series that got me to do it, but it was a great like spark that started off me getting motivated enough to try to find a better sense of style. I mean, I used to come on here looking kind of frumpy, and that's okay, but I like being able to go out and be proud of how I look. And ever since I started wearing, clothes that I actually liked, because it's not like I'm changing my style. It's like, these are clothes that I've always liked. Yeah.
Yes.
I've always liked this style, but I didn't treat myself and let myself, flourish fashion wise.
Yes.
And
yes.
So anyway, it's been cool because I just seem to get more compliments now when I go out. Like, people will compliment my shirts or compliment my my shoes. I have a nice set of shoes.
People notice the effort. I feel like I don't unknowingly.
Yeah,
because obviously they don't know you, so they're just like. But
right.
I don't know. It's sometimes that effort, the energy of effort comes out.
Yeah,
and people are like, oh wow, they notice.
We do put out vibes as human beings. I'm not trying to talk about astrology or nothing, but we put out vibes.
Right.
And I think my vibes are much better now than they were a year ago today. And
yeah, for sure.
At least a part of that is due to the Nagatoro manga, the Berserk manga, and the Mad Men television series.
Yeah. The culmination.
Yes. And Godzilla, of course.
Of course.
Screonk. Okay, so.
By the way, I don't know one person that doesn't like that new Godzilla movie.
It's weird.
Literally talk to everyone. Everyone's like, yo, do you see it yet?
It's so bizarre.
Yet, but
how did I wake up in this world where like every time I look on social media, it's like people going, yep, fucking best movie of the year. Oh, I love it.
Yes.
I love Godzilla. I've loved the whole franchise. And it's just so bizarre that like, I saw that movie with my buddy Ian on like the first night that American fans could see it, November 29th. And I had no clue how everyone else was going to take it. So I'm really happy that I saw it at that point, because I went out of that theater and I'm just like, yeah, that's like a 4.5 out of 5, like another classic Godzilla movie. Toho's done it again. But I didn't expect people to agree with me. People who had no... it's got like the best word of mouth, I think, since Barbie, and probably the second best word of mouth of the year, just because Barbie is like a force to be respected, and people loved that movie. I saw that movie. I really liked it. So
for sure.
I preferred Godzilla -1, to be clear, but
of course.
But
let's not get carried away.
Anyway, but yeah, man. So that is. There, I haven't said that in a while. I think I only say "yeah, man" when I'm recording Dad Men with you, but that
might be my thing, unfortunately.
Yeah, you've infected me with the woke "yeah, man" virus.
The woke.
All right. So this is our first Dad Men bonus check that we recorded in 2024. Our first official one. We actually recorded some in 2023, but those will never see the light of day.
There will be a hidden file on our computers.
Yes, and nobody will ever leak them. So
they won't leak out into the streets.
Yes. I said some pretty offensive stuff about Barbie. I was like, that movie never going to be good.
It's gonna be trash.
Trust me, Margot Robbie. More like Margot No See. I don't see that one.
Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie. She's worse. She's worse than she's ever been in this one. I can guarantee it.
This is a terrible pronunciation of her last name.
I thought that was how you pronounced it. I genuinely did.
I mean, I've always heard like, how's it spelled, by the way?
R-O-B-I-E.
Because it looks like Robbie. Oh, she's from Australia, right?
Yep.
So I actually need to hear how she pronounced, because I'm sure she actually pronounced it different than like an American voice.
R-O-B-B-I-E. I apologize, Margot. Listen.
Let me see.
if you want to make it up to, I mean, if you want me to make it up to you, Margot, you can come on the Dad Men bonus check, because obviously you're not big enough to come on Dad Men Doncast, just because that's for Mad Men stars only.
Yeah.
And Joe and Emily Fleming.
Yeah.
Those are the only people that are not Dad Men cast members that are going to be on Dad Men.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just so you know.
Good old Margot and her Barbie rendition. No, she did a great job. My wife loves the movie and like pesters me about it. You gotta watch it. I'm like, I will. I was like, I don't want to be forced to watch it. I will watch it though.
I saw it with my mother.
Ooh.
Kind of a can't even finish the sentence. I don't know where to go with that. Kind of a green.
I saw where you were walking.
Kind of a green flag for the ladies. I think if I put that in my dating profile, I think I'm going to get a lot of matches. I
actually like that as an idea. It's like, went to see Barbie with mom.
You know, I'm just trying to respect Barbie and my mom. And, you know, Barbie was probably a big friend of my mom's growing up. So.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, did Luna like the movie? Or should I not say your child's name on here? I think we've already said it.
No, I've said her name before. Okay, yeah, I've said it a few times.
Don't ever say my child's name on here, you son
How
of a bitch.
Dare you? You're doxing my child. I love the word dox.
I know, especially for like a child or a baby.
Yeah, don't dox my child. No, I don't think she's seen it front to back. She's still too young to like sit through a whole movie that is not an animated thing. And even in an animated movie, it's a little long from an attention span standpoint for her. She's getting a lot better though. She started watching a few things animated all the way through, but you know, we get so far. But she watched like this Barbie cartoon that I don't even really think is for like children or toddlers or something.
Sure.
Not on my watch, of course, but
well, let me tell you, buddy, do not let her watch any of the anime we discussed today.
No, it's not ready yet. You know, it's speaking of anime and her watching it, I was rewatching Dragon Ball like during the pandemic, the original Dragon Ball from front to back. While she was and she was witness to it. She liked the intro music to the Dragon Ball. And I think the outro eventually. But anyway, that's a whole other
All right.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Well, thank you for listening, everyone. And come back next week. It may be anime related. It may be Mad Men related. But one thing's for sure is going to be a good time. And it's going to be an extra little bit of...
It's a dose of us. Yeah, an extra dose of us.
I'm trying to link it back to like getting a bonus check.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
it's gonna be an extra little thing to help you get through the fiscal year.
Yes, the fiscal 2024.
Hey, you know why the Dad Men bonus check is something you can be grateful for? Because there's no taxes.
Yeah, there you go.
It's going to be a tax-free. All right.
Yeah, tax-free check.
Tax-free check from Michael D. Rowland and
Mike Jallah.
See you next week.
Hasta.